2024 has been a great year here at Joe Shows How, and here are our top 5 most watched videos, including how to keep mice out of your house, 5 ways to use a speed square, how to make your own non-toxic weed killer, tips for making measuring tools easier to read, and how to clean hot water baseboard heaters. And stay tuned to the end for some funny surprises. And in 2025, we have many more videos coming your way. So thanks to everyone for your support, and keep watching. Let me show you the 5 most common uses. We'll use this plastic one because it's nice and bright and easy to see. First, it's great for marking square 90-degree lines and 45-degree lines, which are probably the 2 most common lines you're going to mark because you're often cutting a board square or at 45 degrees because 45 and 45 create a 90. But it's also a protractor. Speed squares are protractors. You see in the corner it says pivot. What that means is you hold that edge of the square tight against the board, then you just pivot it. And on this edge are degree markings. So let's say we want to make a line at 30 degrees, let's say. So there's 25 right there. And so that would be 30. Align it perfectly with the edge of the board. And there you go. That's a perfect 30 degrees. Most squares, speed squares, also have these little notches, which are marking notches. The one I use most often is right here, 3.5 inches. And I'll show you why in a second. You mark it, put the pencil in that notch, slide it along. Now this distance is exactly 3.5 inches, which happens to be the width of a 2x4. So if you're laying on a wall or someplace where you want to put that 2x4 right on exactly 3.5 inches, you have that mark. But these are offset. Each one is a 1/4 inch, so that's 3.5. This would be 3 3/4. There's 4, 4 1/4. So you see, so those are all 1/4 inch apart. So regardless of what distance you want, you can use those notches. It's also great for finding the center of any board without using a measuring tape. Let me show you how that works. So you're going to first mark a square line and a 45-degree line. Then flip the square over, align this edge with your square line right there, perfect. Then just mark it right there. So that is the exact center of this board. How cool is that? So you're going to start with a plant mister, a little sprayer like this is a 1-quart capacity sprayer. If you have a pump-up sprayer, like a 1 or 2 gallon pump-up sprayer, you can use that as well. And you need some magnesium sulfate. Now what is that? Epsom salt. Common Epsom salt, you can find almost anywhere, department stores, grocery stores. Then maybe 8 to 10 squirts of liquid dish soap. I like using Dawn, but pretty much any liquid soap would work. And then you're going to top off the sprayer with white distilled vinegar. I'll put the amounts in the description. Okay, so once you have it in the plant mister, just swirl it around for a good minute or so because you want to make sure all that salt gets dissolved. So you swish it around and then go outside and spray it on the weeds. In fact, I did that this morning. Let's go check and see how those weeds are doing now. Okay, so we're out here, got the soap, vinegar, and salt mixture, and you see these weeds growing alongside our stone steps. And so I'm just gonna spray it right on there. And the nice thing about it, again, it's non-toxic, so if Will comes here and starts licking it, it won't hurt him at all. Now, the one thing you do have to maintain if you're a homeowner that has hot water baseboard heat is cleaning the heating element. And I'll show you what you need to do. First, remove the end cap. There's usually a metal tab on the bottom. You just have to pull it off. Then where 2 lengths of baseboard meet, you'll see a splice plate. Just pop that off. And then the front panel is removable. Just lift up and pull it the top edge forward and it should pop right off. And now you see, whoa, now you see why it's important to clean it. This isn't only done. I see a lot of white fur. Will, where'd all this white fur come from? Huh? Are you putting more white fur in my heating system? You little troublemaker. Okay, get out of here. Regardless of whether it's fur or from pets, which obviously we've got here, or just dust that floats around in the air. What happens is, the way this heating system works is there's a 3/4 inch copper pipe that runs through the middle of this. And the hot water heats up these aluminum fins and they radiate the heat. So by convection, as the heated air rises, because heated air always rises, it pulls in cooler air. And if there's dust anywhere in the house, that dust gets pulled in as well, winds up getting trapped not only behind the front panel, as you can see, in the front panel. And then, of course, it clogs up the fins. And all that airspace is necessary to let the hot air out. So you can imagine how inefficient this system is. Fortunately, it's a pretty easy fix. All you need to do is vacuum it out. And there's several tools to use for vacuuming it. You could try just using the wand itself to get underneath. Now I will say, you do want to be careful. These aluminum fins are pretty delicate. You want to bend them all up, because if you crush them or bend them, again, air can't float through it. So you can use just the wand, or what I prefer to use is the crevice tool. Every vacuum has one of this narrow tool, so it really gets in there. In that case, the crevice tool seemed to have gotten almost all of it, and I'm just going to go by with the upholstery brush just to get the last little bit. And again, you just want to be careful not to damage those fins. There you go. How long did that take? I don't know how much longer it's going to stay clean, thanks to this guy. But you can see, just in a couple of minutes with the vacuum, it's perfectly clean. So if you do that, again, at least once a year, or if you have a very hairy friend, maybe twice a year, you'll keep your heating efficiency way up. Okay. So now we're around back. We have a walkout basement with this entry door. And mice have been coming through here. And when I inspected the door, I couldn't quite figure out how they were getting into the house. The door itself is nice and solid. It's sealed perfectly down here. The sill is in really good shape. There's no space under the sill. But then I did notice they cut the sill way short. It's like almost 2 inches short. I'm not sure why, but it's cut short. And what they created, and this is a piece of aluminum trim, if I pop that out, they created a little entrance ramp for the mice. They've just been flowing right through there. And I noticed this is the wooden jamb, which is the frame of the door. You can see they chewed right through it. I took a screwdriver earlier and was just poking around. The wood's pretty solid, so it's not rot. It was just mice just chewed through there. You can see how deep it went in, pretty deep. And then I took this wire, because I wasn't sure how deep it was, how deep they went in, and you can see it goes all the way through. What is that, like 20 inches of wire clean through. So we found where the mice were coming in, so what are we going to do about it? Well, we're going to plug up that hole. And what I've seen a lot of people do is they take that expanding foam sealant, it comes in a spray can, and they spray it in there and it expands and it seals the hole. But the mice chew right through it. It's just foam. Even though it feels hard, the mice chew right through it. So the manufacturers of spray foam, in this particular case, Great Stuff, came up with Pest Block. It's expanding spray foam, but it contains capsaicin. And capsaicin is the ingredient that makes hot peppers hot. So the idea is you fill the hole with this, and the mice start to chew through it, and they get that hot taste, and they go to your neighbor's house. I don't know what they do, but they don't continue chewing through into your house. But I thought I'd add a little extra measure of safety by adding a barrier. It's basically like steel wool. You can use a stainless steel pad as well. It's like Brillo, but it's stainless steel, not iron, not regular steel wool, because that'll rust out. And what you do is you cut a piece of this, you jam it in the hole first, then you spray into foam. And in that case, you have two defenses, right? So if they start to chew through the foam, even though it's hot, if they continue to chew through, they'll hit this and that'll stop them. That's about the best you can do. If that fails, then it's time to replace the whole door, but we don't want to do that. So let's start with this first. I'll get a pair of scissors and just cut a little piece. And I'll jam it in there, use my slotted screwdriver, and we'll see how much we can get in there. In case you get a mouse that likes spicy food, we'll stop them with this. There you go, how's that? Pretty good, right? All right, now, I'm gonna shake this up. Spray a little bit. Now this expands quite a bit, so you don't want to fill it completely on the first shot. I would say fill it about halfway. In this case, if it bubbles out and it comes, we're not ever going to see it. This is going to hide it. If it comes out where it's an issue at your house, wait till it's completely hardened and just trim it off with a razor knife. And now we're going to fill it with this Pest Block. Here it comes. Oh, by the way, as you're adding this, and this will, like I said, it'll expand and harden eventually. Go inside and check, because what you might find is it'll expand and come out the other side, of course, which would be good. I mean, this will show that it's completely filled. And if it doesn't expand and come out on the inside, what I'd recommend is go inside, wait till this hardens, but go inside, and if you see any holes, fill it up. Again, an added safety to keep those mice out of your house. This is a layout square, sometimes called a speed square. Pretty easy to read. When you highlight it, it's a lot easier to read. It dries very, very durable. Here's a combination square. Again, relatively easy to see those. But here it is with the, I use the white nail polish here. You see how it highlights, especially those 1/16 inch lines. Makes it much easier to read. Now, if you don't want to use nail polish, the other option is chalk. This happens to be sidewalk chalk, the nice fat sidewalk chalk, but you can use any chalk, and white usually works best. You can use it on wrenches, drill bits. Again, even here's a different type of square. Again, the impressions are pretty deep, but they're a lot easier to read if you highlight it with a little chalk. Just rub it in there and then wipe it off, wipe off most of it. And there you go, look how easy that is to see. The chalk won't last quite as long as the nail polish, of course, but unless you get stuck in the rain, it'll last plenty long enough. And I'll show you also how well the chalk works on like wrenches. There's a combination wrench. It's at 12 millimeters. It's pretty easy to see, but highlight it with chalk, a lot easier to see. By the way, if you're buying combination wrenches, spend the extra money and get the one with the ratcheting end. Combination wrenches are simply wrenches that have an open end on one end and a box end on the other. But they do make them now with a box end, actually has a ratcheting mechanism. Much easier, and of course you can switch it to reverse, whether you're tightening a bolt or loosening it. So anyway, next time you're looking for combination wrenches, try the ratcheting type. Drill bits also have really small dimensions stamped in the shaft. I'm not sure if most people are even aware of that, but they do. Here, it's almost impossible to see, but there it is, 3/8 of an inch. Much easier to read. Now, another way to highlight the graduation lines and numbers is by simply sanding it. Because over time, it gets a patina on it, or it just gets maybe rusted or whatever. So just get a piece of sandpaper. This happens to be 100 grit, but you can use almost any sandpaper. Let me try this side here. And you just want to burnish it. It just takes that patina off. And don't forget, if you can see the numbers and you can read the graduation lines and all those dimensions, you're much less likely to make a mistake. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, got a lot of bubbles. Tiny bubbles. The last few years I've been wearing latex gloves when I'm working on projects.
And you want to be my latex salesman.
If you're cutting grooves or dados, a dado is just a groove that goes across the grain as opposed to with the grain. Again, this is a woodworking cabinet hinge, and they're typically known as butt hinges. I like big butts and I cannot lie. And instead of using the sander to round over the entire edge, get a little bit of a head start with a block point. It's a quick and easy way to round over that edge.
You let the tool do the work, you see?
I found 2 places where mice are getting into the house. One, alongside this garage door where there's a crack big enough for the mice just to be parading in and out all winter. I'll come back later and I'll set that. By the way, how do you like my hammer?
Stop! Hammer time!
Every time you see me. Which means you have to amend the soil with pulverized lime, which is a really fine powder, white powder. And now the bottle will capture the sun's energy and heat. Good boy, good boy. Ready, Will? Ready? There you go. So what you do is measure across maybe 3/4 of the way or so across the surface. Okay, if you enjoyed this video, please support us by liking and subscribing. Or I'll kill this dog. No. I'm going to show a tip on how to buy a long-handled, wooden-handled tool. What do you think? Good boy. Want to give me the stick? Want to give me the stick? Want to give it to me? You want to go out? a yes. Yes. We would just like to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year to all our subscribers, new and old, and hope you have a great year. Well, give me that.